Someone is walking down the street and sees a group of teenagers smoking. Inside, ECP rises immediately. How can they do that out here on the street? Shouldn't someone say something? But at the same moment, AC holds the person back. What if I get dragged into trouble? What if I'm the only one who looks strange? Kids these days can be scary. What if something happens to me? In the end, the person says nothing at the scene. They simply walk away. A little later, after reaching a safe place and meeting a friend, the person says, I saw something on the way here. Kids these days really have no manners. What is the world coming to? That is where the core of this combination appears. The person does not lack a sense of justice. Anxiety was simply too strong for that sense of justice to become action in the actual moment. Only after reaching safety does the criticism become sharp. For this combination, criticism is not absent. It often arrives late, and that criticism may become less of an intervention meant to change the other person and more of a way to release tension that was held inside. A small animal is resting under a tree. Then a piece of fruit suddenly falls and hits it on the head. The animal jumps up and cries, something terrible is happening. The sky is falling. The other animals hear this and start running too. No one stops to check what actually happened. After they have been running for a while, an old turtle asks, did you actually see the sky falling? Only then do the animals stop. They look up. The sky is still high and blue. The animal that was frightened first finally says, maybe it was just a fruit from the tree. This fable shows high CP and high AC clearly. The structure is not unstable because there are no standards. The standards may actually be very strong. The sense of what is right and wrong may also be highly sensitive. The difficulty begins when those standards become tied to anxiety. Then the person may look first at the atmosphere, other people's reactions, and the direction of the group. They may not check with their own eyes. They may avoid confronting the situation directly. And only after safety is secured does the sense of justice appear. The small animal in the fable does not check the facts. It becomes frightened first. It runs first. Then it speaks about the fear as if it were a fact. That reflects the sensitive vigilance and risk avoidance of AC. At the same time, the declaration, something terrible is happening, carries the judgment structure of CP. The interpretation becomes firm before the facts are checked. This combination can look very polite and stable from the outside, but inside, strong tension may continue. The issue is not that the person lacks standards. The standards are strong, but anxiety may suppress them and prevent them from operating immediately in the actual situation. That is why the sense of justice does not disappear. It often appears later. The person stays polite in the moment. They may smile, they may stay silent, but underneath that politeness, tension, and self-monitoring keep running. Can I say this? Is it safe? What will they think of me? So the structure can look calm on the outside while criticism and anxiety are pulling against each other. Inside, the person may not speak directly in the situation. But later, in a safer place, the criticism comes out. That delayed movement is one of the key features of this combination. Now let's look at the graph. The group in which both CP and AC are in the top 10% includes 179 out of 8,255 people. That is about 2.17%. The thresholds are CP at 39 points or higher, AC at 40 points or higher. In this group, the average CP score is 42.2. The average AC score is 42.7. Both rise prominently above the overall averages. This means the structure is not simply strict. The strictness is combined with strong caution and sensitivity to social boundaries. Inside, Thoughts like these may rise quickly. This is not right. This should be corrected. But at the same time, another set of calculations begins. Is it safe to say this now? How will they see me? Will I look strange? Looking further at the graph, NP is 38.8. A is 37.6. FC is 35.9. SC is 37.5. The other ego states are also generally above average. So this is not a structure with only high CP and high AC. Several functions are elevated together. That is why from the outside the person may seem very proper, polite, diligent, socially hard to criticize. But inside, the criticism of CP and the anxiety of AC remain in tension. This is not simply a person who is kind and strict. It is closer to a person who spends a great deal of energy maintaining reputation, order, and social standards. The resources of this structure are clear. The person may be very effective at maintaining group order. They are often polite. They care about morality and standards. They can easily earn social trust. There may be fewer impulsive behaviors that make other people uncomfortable. The person stays cautious. The person keeps standards in mind. That can create the impression of someone very safe. A person beyond reproach. This combination can easily earn that kind of reputation. It can help reduce major problems in a community and maintain basic courtesy and order. But the risks are also significant. Holding back what the person really wants to say can create strong internal pressure. Words that could not be expressed in the actual situation may come out later as criticism. That can create a sense of betrayal in relationships. Someone may think, you smiled in front of me. You stayed quiet, but behind my back, you were judging me harshly. That discovery can weaken trust quickly. The person may also become exhausted from constantly monitoring other people's reactions. Can I say this? I shouldn't look like that. Did I seem rude? That self-monitoring can go on and on. Let's also look briefly at nonverbal signals. The body may carry strong tension. The mouth may smile while the eyes continue watching the other person's reaction. The expression may be socially appropriate without feeling fully relaxed. An awkward social smile may appear. Hand movements may stay small and rigid. The person may look as though they are about to point, then stop halfway. The feet may stay neatly together or become fixed by tension. The spine may remain upright, but the upright posture may come more from tension than from relaxed openness. The overall silhouette may look proper and at the same time stiff. Of course, these signals are not grounds for judging a person. They are supporting signals to read alongside the graph the person's words and the flow of the interaction. Now let's look at the group in which both CP and AC are in the bottom 10%. This group includes 139 out of 8,255 people. That is about 1.68%. The thresholds are CP at 25 points or lower, AC at 28 points or lower. In this group, the average CP score is 22.5. The average AC score is 25.8. Both are low. Again, this is closer to a low tendency in the baseline egogram than to temporary helplessness in one moment. In other words, we are looking at the average structure of people whose everyday ability to set standards is weak and whose tendency to consider other people's reactions and social norms is also weak. The first thing that stands out is that both CP and AC are low. What counts as rude? Why should a boundary be respected? The sense behind those questions may become unclear. NP is 28.0. A is 25.6. SC is 26.0. These are also below average. So this is not a structure in which only CP and AC are low. It is closer to a state in which the whole system has settled downward. By contrast, FC is 29.9. That is not extremely far from average. So some self-directed or indifferent reactions may still appear on the surface. But the energy for organizing those reactions through social standards or consideration is weaker. When both CP and AC are low, the ability to set standards becomes weaker. The tendency to consider other people's reactions and social norms also becomes weaker. From the outside, that may look like freedom, but it may be closer to indifferent bystanding. The person does not strongly criticize others, but they may also care very little about criticism from others. The motivation to maintain courtesy may be weak. Why? Because the sense of what is rude and why boundaries matter has itself become blurred. If someone behaves badly, the person may simply treat it as part of the passing scenery. If someone else points out the problem, the person may not feel much agreement. From the outside, this can look relaxed or cool, but it may actually reflect something else. The presence of other people may not be entering the mind very strongly. The central issue is not simply disrespect. It is reduced sensitivity to other people's presence itself. That can make relationships dry. Shared standards may begin to feel like unnecessary effort. The person may think, why bother? Why should I care? But the cost is that the relationship itself receives less energy. This difference can also appear through the body. The person may show very little facial regulation. They may give a gaze that feels dismissive, or they may not look at the other person at all. Hand movements may appear careless or low in energy. The person may pass an object as if dropping it or tossing it. The wrist may stay loose and move without much attention. The legs may be scattered. The feet may point anywhere. There may be little energy in the spine. The posture may stay bent because the person is not strongly monitoring other people's reactions. They may simply remain in whatever posture feels most comfortable. The same pattern can appear in interpersonal distance. The person may ignore the other person's personal space, or they may move so far away that they leave the range of communication altogether. This is better understood not as carefree freedom, but as a state in which less energy is being invested in the relationship itself. Again, these nonverbal signals are not grounds for judging a person. They are supporting signals that may show how reduced relational energy appears through the body. Now let's look at the direction of tuning. For someone with high CP and high AC, the first step is to release some tension from the shoulders and open a path for FC. In other words, practice expressing something appropriately in the actual situation instead of holding everything in and releasing it later through criticism. Try saying something small and respectful in the moment. For example, this makes me uncomfortable. I don't see it that way. This behavior seems a little dangerous right now. For this combination, short and direct sentences like these can become major acts of tuning. This does not mean starting a large confrontation. It means reducing the pattern of staying silent in the moment and becoming sharp only later. Say what is possible now. Say it briefly. Say it respectfully. Now let's look at the opposite side. When both CP and AC are low, the person may need to rebuild basic standards of respect. Do not confuse indifference with freedom. Raise the head, straighten the spine. Look at the other person. Restore basic courtesy. Start with simple language. Hello? Excuse me, I need to get through. Please be a little more careful with that. Small statements like these can begin to wake up a sense of relationship again. Caution and standards are not only restraints. They are also part of what holds a shared world together. As you look at this combination, it may help to ask yourself a few questions. Do I bring out my standards only later because I could not speak in the actual moment? Does my politeness come from respect? Or does it act like a wall that hides me? Has my body become rigid from too much tension? On the other hand, have I become so indifferent that other people are disappearing from my awareness? What is my body closer to right now? A pressure cooker about to burst? Or an empty street where other people have disappeared? The purpose of these questions is not self-blame. The purpose is observation. And tuning comes after observation. The core of this combination is clear. When CP and AC are high, courtesy and standards are strong, but anxiety can delay the expression of justice. The person stays silent in the actual situation, then becomes sharp after reaching a safe place. When CP and AC are low, there may appear to be less conflict, but sensitivity to norms and relationships may also become weak. So the task is not to endure more, and it is not to become more indifferent. The key is to stop for a moment and look directly at the sky. Do not run only according to other people's expressions or the atmosphere around you. Look at the facts with your own eyes, then speak appropriately in your own words. This makes me uncomfortable. I don't see it that way. I'll check before I say more. Tuning for CP and AC can begin with small sentences like these. What is your body saying right now? A pressure cooker about to burst? Or an empty street where other people have disappeared? Tuning for this combination begins with that question.